jury has spoken. Judgment has been rendered. And to the surprise of virtually no one, Lori Vallow stinks as a lawyer because she failed to get her client acquitted of charges that she conspired to murder her fourth husband 6 years ago. That Maricopa County jury in Arizona took less than 3 hours to find Lori Vallow, the client, guilty. 2 hours, 57 minutes, and 58 seconds to be exact. It's what you call a fast verdict. Here is the exact moment where Lori, acting as her own lawyer, found out what a fool for a client she had.
I'll ask the clerk to read and record the verdict.
In the Superior Court of the State of Arizona in and for the County of Maricopa, State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell, CR 2021-001704-001, verdict count 1. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action, upon our oaths, do find the defendant, Lori Daybell, as to the crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder occurring on or about July 11, 2019, guilty. Signed, foreperson. Is this your true verdict? So say you one and all.
Yes.
On the court's own motion, I'll go ahead and ask the clerk to poll the jury.
Juror number 1, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 2, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 6, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 7, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 8, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 9, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 10, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 11, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 12, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 13, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 15, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 16, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Yeah, you could tell she was getting bored of hearing that all those people don't like her, don't believe her. I think she's used to getting her way. And when she doesn't, she turns her head. What might be the most unbelievable part of this trial is that when those jurors were discharged and thanked by the judge for their service, they left the courthouse and some said they had no idea that that lady that they were sitting in judgment of, that she had already killed 3 people, including her own 2 kids, and had already been on trial for it and been found guilty of it. Yeah, that's a gut punch if you had any reservations at all, and it turns out some of them did. I'm joined now by somebody who was in the courtroom for all of it. Lindsay Haller is the producer of my podcast, Drop Dead Serious. She watched all of this unfold. So, Lindsay, first of all, I am just gobsmacked by the fact that some of these jurors said they didn't know. But take me to the ones that you spoke to and the feedback that you got from them when they left the courthouse.
Yeah, so they did not know. They were actually found out as they were walking out of the courthouse. They were told, just Google it. There's a lot of stuff. And, you know, go look on Netflix. There's a lot of things. So the juror I spoke to, she said that, you know, she had no idea she killed her kids. I was actually with someone who said that she was from Rexburg, where the kids were murdered. And I think when, you know, you hear the kids were killed and then she said Rexburg, where they were murdered, she had a horrified look on her face and her eyes had tears in them. This was so overwhelming. But we heard from quite a few today, so take a look.
Knowing how high profile this case was,
It was very,
what's going through your head?
sadness. It's sad. Oops, I'm sorry. It's just sad that, you know, this has happened to Charles, and she's given up her life as well. It's sad.
What did you think of her defending herself? Anything that went through the jury's head with that?
Well, for me personally, I thought, what does she have to lose? Guilty or not guilty? What does she have to lose?
So were any of you folks aware that this woman had already been
I had never been heard. I have never heard of her.
homicides.
Yeah, no,
and
I've
the
never
jurors
heard of her
did not
before.
know that.
No, I did not.
And nobody brought it.
Did you didn't
Ma'am,
know?
would you want to come in and talk too?
You want to say
You want to say
anything?
anything?
Just what is,
Yeah, what was your
There's a lot of
experience like,
backstory here, and this woman had already been convicted of 3 homicides, and they obviously didn't want you folks to know that. Nobody knew that during your deliberations.
No.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Well,
what was this experience like for you?
It was sad, like as he said. For me, it was the text messages that did it, as far as evidence. And I feel like we uncovered some lies.
Knowing now that she was convicted of killing her 2 children in Idaho.
I haven't had a chance to Google everything. I'm sure as soon as we get on the shuttle. So might have more to say later.
Was that difficult going through this and not
Yes,
being able
it
to be
was.
disconnected?
Yeah.
What
It
do you
just felt
think
like there was a lot of information that didn't make sense and that was missing.
do you think she did herself any favors by
No.
defending herself?
No.
You were not impressed with her
No.
lawyering skills?
No.
What did you think of her behavior during cross-examination, the way that at one moments she was argumentative with some of the witnesses?
I mean, many days she just was like smiling and laughing and didn't seem to take anything very seriously.
Was the fact that she didn't put up a defense or take the stand in her own defense part of your deliberation at all?
It was all evidence. It was all evidence that was produced
Yeah.
and presented to us.
Sorry if this was asked. What would you say the biggest piece of evidence for you guys as a jury was when you came to the decision?
Well, for me, like her, it was text.
The text
were
history.
damning.
What specifically about the text?
Oh, there were so many.
Yeah, there was.
I mean,
there
we
was
had
2 of them for me
pages.
that really stood out.
Can you tell us which ones?
The Nephi.
Yeah, that was one of them. Soon you will be Nephi, and so will I. So that was one of them. But I don't know if I should say anything more than that.
We heard so much about dark spirits and religion and how this all plays into it. I mean, as a jury, what's going through your head when you start hearing that in court?
For me, that didn't really play a big role because you have to have evidence of conspiracy, and that is not evidence of conspiracy to me.
Was it
somebody is?
Was it unusual for you guys to see? I mean, you're talking about her brother Alex, the guy who actually was the trigger man. So many players were referenced in this trial, and you never saw them and never heard from them. That had to be confusing when you guys got back in the jury room. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very confusing.
It
just felt like there was so much of the story that was missing.
Did she have any valid arguments, like anything that made you think maybe she's not guilty?
Do you want to answer? I can't think of any.
You know, honestly, up until yesterday, I would have said not guilty. But when the prosecutor, I don't know, what do they call that? When they give their
closing argument.
Yeah. Yes, the closing
Connected
argument.
the
That's
dots.
really, there's a few things she said in there, and then when I looked them up today, I was like, oh yeah, that's bad.
You were still on the fence yesterday.
I was yesterday. Yes.
Give us a sense of what it was like to be in that jury room. Was there any a point that someone was disagreeing, saying that maybe she is not guilty?
Yes.
Were you guys?
There's a couple.
And what was that like? Walk us through that.
It's just a matter of, adults working things out and going through all the evidence and figuring out, what we thought, what we were going to come to an agreement with. So.
To learn now that everyone that was in that house that day, minus Daybell, is all not with us anymore, is dead or has been killed. I mean, what is that like to hear as jurors walking out?
Sad. Like I kept wanting to hear from Tylee.
I was going to ask, is anybody wondering why Tylee wasn't testifying?
Yes.
He was.
Did you ever ask the judge why aren't they here?
No. And the one witness that really got to me was hearing Kay. I was holding back my emotions.
Oh, my Lord, there's so much there, just so incredibly much to what those jurors said. But first of all, way to go getting your microphone in that scrum of reporters and cameramen and streamers and everybody under the sun that wanted to hear from those jurors. I couldn't believe it, Lindsay, when the guy in the blue shirt, the juror, said, up until yesterday, I was on the fence, and that it was the prosecutor's closing that brought him back to the evidence and to a guilty verdict. It's just remarkable.
It is crazy, and what's even crazier is there was another juror that said that initially they were 10-2 when they first started deliberating. It didn't sound like the other two were like firm not guilty. They just needed to go through the evidence and make sense of it again. But it was wild even just hearing that. But, you know, there was so much that they didn't know that it actually was pretty cool to see, you know, they still convicted her, and they truly did not know. She did get a fair trial.
And it was very interesting to hear the woman to the left of the man in the blue shirt. I'm assuming they didn't want to share their identities because, you know, the whole world wants to hear from them. But that she said that she was very sad and kept wanting to hear from Tylee, which is a murdered child of Lori. Lori murdered Tylee, and Tylee was part of that whole self-defense baloney. So the fact that she wanted to hear from Tylee, I guess they were just all confused as to why two of the dead parties weren't in that courtroom testifying.
Right, and I can't imagine, like I said earlier, one of my friends mentioned that, you know, I'm from Rexburg, I'm where the kids were murdered. That's not even, well, Tylee was destroyed, annihilated, her body was mutilated in a pet cemetery. So when these jurors find that out, I can't even imagine what they're going to be thinking, because this is not, they weren't just, you know, shot. If that makes it better, it doesn't, but yeah.
No, they were.
It's going to be a lot.
It was awful what happened to these. Yeah, I mean, JJ was wrapped up like a mummy and buried off, you know, I think about 100 yards or so from Tylee. Tylee, they tried to dismember her. They tried to burn her dismembered pieces, and in failing that, they threw her into the pet cemetery. I mean, it's just a despicable, despicable crime. And then there was Charles. Poor Charles, who said he loved his wife, that she'd just gone off the deep end with this religion. And little did he know that that wife and her brother were going to, you know, ambush him and murder him there in his own home. But this jury did it. It's incredible that they were 10-2 and didn't know about these awful murders that she committed, you know, that same year, but they still got it right. Okay, one other question. Lori, we only had the back of her head for a lot of it, but tell me about her reaction, because when I watched her looking over as they were pulling the jury, it looked to me like sourpuss Lori kicked in and she didn't want to hear anything more about it. What was the demeanor of her when the verdict came in?
It was exactly like what you just said. She seemed upset. She wasn't nearly as talkative or cutesy or flirtatious. That was gone. In fact, the state was going to move into an aggravation phase, you know, bring the jury back in, and was this a dangerous crime? Did it meet these aggravating factors? And Lori said, no need, I'm going to stipulate to that fact. So she, in a sense, didn't even want to hear any more people saying guilty, or that was just my impression.
She probably didn't want to hear any more witnesses, like family members, come in and, you know, say what they really felt about what she, what she'd done in her past, etc. Maybe she just thought, you know what, wrap this all up now. I heard her excuse was it's the same penalty anyway, so who cares, you know? I got to wrap it there. Hey, Lindsay, thanks for doing that, and thanks for running. I don't know how exhausted your arm is trying to get your microphone and camera through that big scrum, but I'm glad you did it. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
I had help. Thank you, Ashleigh.
All right, Lindsay having to sit through that 2 weeks of that trial as well.